Hey guys, and welcome back to the English shooting live stream. Apologies that it's on a slightly different day. We're only out by one day. Of course, these streams are usually on half past 7 p.m. UK time on Thursdays, but due to other commitments, really sorry I couldn't do it yesterday, but I wasn't going to miss it for this week, so welcome to the Friday stream. This week, lots to talk about, actually quite a lot of big news. Of course, there is one huge bit of news that was covered in a video yesterday that I put out. I mean, I just had to sort of take all the information that was out there at the moment and put it into a short and concise video just to give some people sort of a heads up and a wider idea, just other than a couple of Facebook posts. And there's a lot of people that don't use Facebook, and obviously being predominantly a YouTube channel, really the videos have got to get something out. So we are going to be talking about that in more depth. There's been some smaller developments on the Guntrader situation, but if you're new to this stream, and well, welcome first off as always, but this is an opportunity to talk about anything you want. You can talk amongst yourselves in the chat, or you can ask questions to me in the chat, or we can bring up any topics you want sort of my thoughts on, and you just want to have a general chit chat about it. Really, it's quite relaxed. There's few rules, although Dan is currently spinning that band hammer, waiting to go. You don't need to give him any excuse whatsoever to swing that band hammer, and he's very much in control because I'm focusing on you guys, not the chats section at all times, so some things do tend to slip through the net occasionally. But yeah, the big news obviously is Guntrader. A lot of the American subscribers asking what the hell is Guntrader. Obviously, you have, I think the best comparison is Gunbroker out in the US. But to give a bit of sort of backstory, Guntrader is an advertising platform. In the UK, we have a website called AutoTrader. I think there's an AutoTrader in the US as well. Well, again, if there isn't, then it's not a really good comparison to any American subscribers. But it's an advertising platform. They don't actually deal in the transaction of gun sales. It allows private and also commercial entities to advertise their guns for sale. So, you know, if you're a FAC holder, a firearm certificate holder, and you have a gun that you want to sell, you're not happy with your local gun shop offer, well, there are very few places that you can actually advertise it. Of course, you can't advertise it on Facebook, eBay, the conventional ways of selling things. So Guntrader is a specialist platform all around guns. You post your advert on there, and then any potential buyers will contact you directly, and then the transaction is then done face to face. Sometimes you can end up getting an RFD involved in terms of sending guns up and down the country, and that all comes down to our laws. So law number 1 is that you cannot sell guns online. The transaction cannot be an online transaction. It always has to be a face-to-face. And sometimes you'll have a gun owner up in Scotland and a gun owner down here in Portsmouth. Well, that's quite a way for either to travel. So what you can do is use an RFD transfer. Again, the face-to-face bit is still taking place, although the two ends of the transaction never meet. What you would end up doing is take your gun, you know, the Scottish shooter, let's say, is selling a rifle, takes it to his Scottish gun shop. They then take the gun off of him and sign it, or cross it off of his FAC, sign it onto their register. They then send it down to another RFD. This is another sort of oddity of UK law, is that you can't send guns to anyone other than an RFD. So they have to have a registered firearms dealership certificate, and they send it to another RFD, which is going to be closer to that private shooter, let's say down in Portsmouth. They then go to the shop. So it's a little bit of a well, quite a big middleman, as it were, if you're going to involve in that. But the transactions are face to face. You are signing and physically seeing somebody's certificate so that you can verify it. I know a lot of the mainstream media and people reporting on this seems to think that you can just go and buy guns online on Guntrader. You can't. It's an advertising platform. Anyway, with that preface done, what happened? Well, their user base was hacked. Somebody managed to get onto their website, managed to download their entire membership database, which consisted of over 112,000 account details, and put it out there onto the internet. And I believe the details are being sold on the dark web. So why is this such an issue? Well, whilst there is no definitive link between the accounts and if the account holder is a gun owner, whether they have guns in their possession and where those guns are stored, Guntrader is predominantly a controlled firearms advertising platform. You only ever see guns on there. Well, I say only, the majority of them. I mean, why not? Well, I'll just show you. I'll give them some free publicity. They probably need it. So, well, we've got some. Let's bring up the viewer, and I was going to show you. Let me get another page up quickly, because I was going to show you something as well that a subscriber actually told me about, and I hadn't made the connection, and it sort of makes things a little bit worse. But we'll get onto that in a sec. So this is Guntrader. This is the platform, and you can let's look at the numbers. Right, we don't need to go any further. Shotgun, so you need a license for a shotgun. You need a shotgun certificate to be able to have a shotgun. 17,800. Rifles, those aren't air rifles, obviously they're denoted below. Rifles, nearly 7,000. So just between shotguns and rifles, which will require a shotgun or firearms certificate, you are talking 25,000. And the other numbers, apart from air guns, okay, there's a lot of air rifles on there, but air rifles can be under a firearm certificate as well. The outright majority of guns available on there are licensed firearms. Therefore, it's not a huge leap to then say that the majority of users on that platform are going to have a firearm and or shotgun certificate. And again, it's not a huge leap to say that if they've got the certificate, they've probably got the gun. So my comment in the video was that I would hazard a guess that it is at least 50% of the membership on Guntrader that are certificate holders and therefore gun owners. Gives you a 50-50 chance of going down that list and picking a house where there is probably guns. Now, Guntrader have taken the line and are adamantly protesting that, look, there's no connection here. Yes, really sorry your details are out there, but no one definitively knows what you have. Until somebody very kindly pointed out to me, and I'll bring it up now. Now, this is just a random ad, right? I'm not endorsing this rifle at all. It's just a random ad on there. But look what you can do. So if you've got the entire membership database, you can see that this private member, his name being Roger, beautiful British name, he lives in Badminton, Gloucestershire, and you can see his mobile and telephone. Now, I'm not going to press these reveals because that would be doxing him and I don't want to do that. But if you hit these reveals, it will reveal their phone number. There's no checks, it's right there. So if you've got the entire database of users, and you know people's name, you know their address, and you know their phone number, it would be quite easy to cross-reference that information. You could go on here, see, search into that database of users, search Roger that lives in Badminton, or even just search his number, right? That's going to be obviously a unique number. You then can put one and one together. So, there isn't a, say, definitive link within the data itself, but through a little bit of prodding and poking on the site, you could quite easily obtain that, hang on a minute, this guy here, you go through that user database, you find his full address, and you know he has that rifle there because he's currently selling it. And you could do that for a number of different adverts, a number of different guns, and a number of different gun owners. So this whole thing about, oh, it's just pot luck if they actually pick somebody with an up-to-date address and pick somebody that actually has guns at home, well, using that method, they would quite easily be able to narrow it down to actually who's currently in possession of a gun. And not only that, you have an advert for the gun, so you know exactly what you are getting. The other big thing that wasn't touched on in the video is Section 5 dealers. Now, whilst the specific details of dealers was not amongst the users, I believe the user accounts were there were no RFD details leaked. So in terms of their logs, what guns they currently have on the register, their certificate number, if you look through the users and the data that was leaked, you can see names of gun shops, right? And more worryingly, a number of people that have downloaded this data I've been saying, look, is this person in there? Is that person in there? Is this gun shop in there? Is that gun shop in there? And quite quickly, I was able to have it confirmed that there were details of 3 Section 5 dealers that had been leaked. Now, a Section 5 dealer, for people that don't know, or maybe outside of the UK, Section 5 is like any other weapon. Handguns are heavily restricted here in the UK. They are restricted to Section 5. Semi-automatic full-bore rifles are heavily restricted to Section 5. Full auto, Section 5, you're getting the picture. So in terms of the guns that the criminals are going to want to be going after, the terrorists are wanting to be going after, the Section 5 dealers is like jackpot. It is just hitting the mother load, certainly if they are well stocked. And Section 5 dealers, as you would imagine, are very, very secretive about where they are, how they operate, what premises they operate from. And it takes a level of trust to be able to go and even visit one of these, even as an FAC holder, never mind you randomer off the street. Again, piecing this together, you would be able to find the address, location of Section 5 dealers. A lot of people saying, well, you must be mad to go breaking into a gun owner's home. Yeah, all the Americans watching, just because you have a gun in your home won't deter people from breaking into it. I'm sure you can attest. Also, it's the issue of staking out. It's the issue of sitting outside someone's home and waiting for them to leave. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a confrontation. There doesn't have to be anyone in the house. They may time it just right. If they know they're going to get a big haul of firearms, that they will just sit there and wait for a couple of days, learn the patterns of that owner, wait until they go out, break in, get everything uncontested. Criminals are stupid. They don't really have much self-preservation. So even if they know there's somebody inside that has guns that could potentially be used in ways that are not currently legal to be able to own a gun for, let's just say, that was a nice way of getting around a certain phrase, right? So they may think, screw it, I want to do it anyway. And George Digweed was unfortunately a victim of a vicious attack. He was targeted because he was a gun owner. People knew he was a gun owner, and it's because of his because he's quite famous within the shooting community here, that people knew he owned guns. They specifically broke in and were asking, where's the cabinet, give us the keys to the cabinet, and made off with some shotguns. So this was a world-class shooter, like 26-time world champion. If you're going to break into anybody's home, breaking into a gun owner's home is one thing. Breaking into a gun owner's home that is a multiple world champion in their shooting discipline, like, they're going to know their way around the gun and they're going to be able to use it pretty effectively. That still didn't deter them. So it's not a huge deterrent. And what's not to say that they don't come prepared as well? If they are expecting a fight, then maybe they will also bring tools to be able to fight back. So the seriousness is quite high, as I keep stressing. The thing that really annoyed me overall about it was, we're now getting reports, I think, so what was the date? It was, the video went out yesterday, that was Thursday. It was what is the date? I lose track. It's the 23rd. I should know. It's actually in the title of the bloody live stream. So it was the 21st that the story was broken. Was it 23rd video yesterday? I'm getting very confused. Yeah, no, it was the 20th. So it's been reported more and more that Guntrader were aware of this breach on the 20th. It wasn't until the evening of the 21st that anything actually came out. So I really do think they were probably like, oh shit, like, I don't wish this on any company. Hacks like this are quite common, unfortunately, and it's going to be devastating for them. It's going to certainly be a lot of sleepless nights for them. It's done untold damage to the reputation of the company, so I do feel for them. And you are going to panic as a business owner. It's literally the worst thing for this business to ever have happened. The whole thing about guns in the UK is trust and security, and a lot of gun owners like their anonymity. So it's literally like the worst thing that could have happened to them. But I think they took too long. There was a huge security risk. A lot of people potentially in danger, having their own well-being put at risk. They needed to know about it, and regardless of what damage it was going to do to the company, it was always going to come out. It was already in the Facebook groups. These rumors snowball, and then channels like this pick up on it, and it's news. A lot of you guys watch the channel to keep up to date with what's going on. If I get a bit of news, and I certainly think that it's in not only the public interest, but certainly the shooting community's interest to be made aware of it, I'm gonna put it out there, right? So, it was always going to get out there, and waiting that 24 hours, I think has actually cost them a lot more in terms of their reputation. And so many people messaging about the very short, snappy replies that they were getting from them, and so many people saying that actually they were almost denying it. Oh yeah, we've had some data go, but it wasn't a lot. I literally don't know what more they could have lost. you know. So yeah, that's really the long and the short of it. The catch up till now, the new additions is actually more technical of potentially how it happened. Now this hasn't been confirmed in any way, but this was put out on the Shooting Times. It's the Shooting UK.co.uk website, and they go into and say that they spoke to experts, and basically they're suspecting that it's SQL injection targeting the website, and it, you know, it says right there, you guys can read, uses well-known and easily solved security flaws to attack and steal the databases that a website relies on. This is if this is correct, and I think this is probably the biggest statement from either the expert or the Shooting Times. If this is correct, it suggests serious and basic security flaws were not identified and tackled. And from talking to other experts on cybersecurity, the general feel, again, none of this is confirmed, but the general feel is that the website and the security measures were, well, first of all, they were inadequate. I think that's pretty obvious, but they were outdated. They weren't up to date. They were never going to withstand the modern hacks that take place now. So a lot of people feel that Guntrader has let them down, and they've let them down by not keeping their security up to scratch. Again, that's very much a speculation at this point, but so many people are saying it. So many people seem to be going down that line. That seems to be what's happened. Really, there's not a lot more apart from what we already know, what was in the video, what's been posted out online, and what's in the various news articles. The BBC picked up on it. Obviously, a huge scaremongering post from them. It's the BBC. What do you expect? That doesn't seem to have got that much traction. I would have thought that the likes of, you know, BBC, Sky News, you know, Daily Mail, all of those, Guardian, they were just going to pick this up and eat it up for breakfast. But it doesn't seem to be really causing that much of a fuss, and that might be in our favour. The ignorance that a lot of people have around guns in the UK, they may not even think it's a UK website, and also it's like it's another data hack. It happens like all the time. It happens routinely. If you are worried that your data has been hacked, there is a website. It's actually in the link. It's in the description comment section of the video that I put out last night, and I think I know what it is, but I'm just going to double check. I'll bring it up and show you. It's I think it's haveibeenpwned.com. Let's find the comment section. Oh, suck a dick, YouTube, come on. I can see you guys chatting away. I will get onto your comments and questions in a minute. But yeah, if you are worried, and I mean, not just Guntrader, if you're worried that your data's out there, you'll be surprised. I've put in my emails in the past, and you're like, oh shit, I've like my data's been out there, my details have been out there far longer than I thought. So it's have I been pwned, and it's haveibeenpwned.com. Put your email in there. It is 100% safe. Don't worry, you're not giving your details to more hackers. Put it on there, it will tell you if your data is. But again, as I said in the video, if you had a Guntrader account, it's not a question if you've used Guntrader, because you can browse these ads without an account. You can use it without an account. I've previously sold guns on there, and that's why I had an account. If you have opened an account with them, your data's out there. There's no like, oh, was it some of it? Was it a little bit? No, it was all of it. So if you've ever had a Guntrader account, yeah, your GPS coordinates of where you live are now out online. Fantastic. So yeah, let's get into the comments. But don't forget, guys, like, subscribe if you're not already. We do this every single week, usually on a Thursday. But yeah, like and subscribe. It really does help, especially the likes. It really does boost the analytics and the stats of the channel, and it helps us reach new people and introduce them into this wonderful sport. Don't know why I said it like that, just spicing things up. 19th century burglar alarm, coach gun trigger attached via string to a doorknob. You laugh, right? You laugh. Oh, it's going to be on. Oh, I'm not going to get it quickly. There was a video going around on Facebook years ago, and I have it tucked away somewhere just for pure amusement. A builder I think this was out in Northern Ireland, maybe even the Republic of Ireland. Their van kept getting broken into, and they had enough. And what they had done is rigged a side by side or over and under shotgun exactly like that, so that when they broke into the back of the door and they pulled the door, bit of rope, pulled the trigger, and yeah, the rest I'm sure you can imagine. So I saw that. I was like, if that person ends up keeping their FAC or SGC after this, I'd be very surprised. Don't go and do things like that. Will you be at the game fair? No, unfortunately not. It's a great show. I do really like it. It is more of a country outdoorsy sort of shotgun game show. Of course, it's called the Game Fair, so obviously, like, yeah, that was really silly, wasn't it? It is a good show, right? But it's not focused anywhere near around the sort of shooting that I like to do. But there are loads of people that go there and have stands there that I know. It's nice to go and catch up. And it is just one of those shows that you could easily take the family. It's an easy sell because there's loads of stuff going on that isn't just shooting related. You can go and, like, one year they had gator rides. You can go and drive gators. When I say that, they're like the John Deere gators, not actual like alligators. That would be very dangerous. But they have loads of different activities, and it is just a nice day out. You know, it's like a country fair basically. But yeah, no, I wasn't able to go. I had to man the office today as Connors is up in Wales. He's competing in the Llanbradach Level 3 practical shotgun match run by Pro Shoot Firearms. So yeah, he's going to be doing that. All the best to Connors. Hopefully he will get his third President's Medal this weekend. But I had to stay back in the office and watch things over because over this weekend I'm having a nice trip up to London. So very much looking forward to that, being taken away by my other half. She had booked all of this last year, then COVID, and we're going to the Chicken Wing Festival because I absolutely love chicken wings, and that's not a joke. Like, genuinely, if they're on the menu, I'm having them. So yeah, we're going to the Chicken Wing Festival where it's like all you can eat chicken wings. It's like my idea of heaven. Have you got any of this information from Guntrader? No, so I did think about that. I have sort of exemptions for it. Basically, anybody trying to obtain this information that isn't the like the information holder, so you know the user or Guntrader, you're not allowed to, right? It's a criminal offence for you to obtain it without the permission of the data owners. However, there's certain like journalistic exemptions and privileges, so that if it's in the public interest for a journalist or reporter to obtain that information to then report on it to the public, then there's various exemptions and sort of get arounds. I just opted not to. I was able to get all of the information that I needed to be able to first verify that this was real, and then also sort of dig around a little bit deeper and understand it a bit more. And I just didn't feel the need. First off, the website that it is on apparently is well known, but I'd never seen it in my life, and you had to get an account, and I believe you also had to actually pay to be able to download the data. So I wasn't going to go and put my details into a random like hacking website or like a raid forum. It's like I just was quite hesitant about that, and then certainly I'm not paying somebody who's just committed God knows how many crimes in obtaining that information for the information itself. So yeah, I had other people verify it for me and send me enough. I mean, for me, it was apparent the data was real when people were sending me screenshots of Google Maps close to my house. You know, it's like, how else would they? There are other methods. There is other information out there to lead you to that. But when I started going, what about this person? What about that person? And it all added up. I didn't really need to see it myself. I just needed to verify how many accounts, what details was included, and obviously then verify it. But yeah, I just wanted to stay well clear of it. The NCA do not take things like this lightly, especially getting around, around firearms and lawful gun owners. I don't need anything else to get myself into trouble. It's like, stay well clear. Only 56 pistols. I know they are rare in the UK, but dang, that's a small amount available on this marketplace trading hub. Well, that's because we're talking about Section 5. Only the Section 5 dealers can buy and sell them, unless they're 7.3. We'll just skip that for a moment. So there's only a handful of people that really would ever have a need for it. The demand for handguns in the UK is very, very low. The majority of the sales actually off of Guntrader for these handguns are actually for humane dispatch. So a lot of them you will see, it's available for under Section 5, 7.3 or humane dispatch. But usually when the guns are then sold to a Section 1 certificate holder under humane dispatch, the magazines will be limited to 2 or 3 rounds. If it's a revolver, certain cylinders will be plugged. So there's not sort of any sort of real buzz around handguns here because the majority of people can't own them. What was that about? Nexus of Ice. Are you as a firearms owner in the UK allowed to store your private firearms outside your home in a secure place? Absolutely. Chris has got on it straight away. Club or an RFD, you can actually store your guns with other certificate holders. There are methods to do so. With shotgun certificates, there's the 72-hour rule. So if it is a Section 2 shotgun, you can actually lend your gun without signing it onto their certificate for up to 72 hours. So, if you're up there, if for whatever reason over a weekend and you need them to look after it for you, you can, and they've got a certificate, and obviously you've got a certificate, they can just leave it in their safe for up to 72 hours and nothing needs to be done. With Section 1 firearms, what could be done is you could both share it on your certificate, right? You could both put the same gun down on the certificate and you would both be lawfully allowed to possess it and then also store it. I have heard some cases of people having safes in other addresses that are secure, but nobody else in that address has access or even has a certificate. It's really what the police will approve. If they will give the okay on it, then you're golden. But yes, RFDs, a gun shop, they will offer storage solutions. A lot of people will do this if their security arrangements at home aren't sufficient enough for them to get the certificate. They will come to a compromise with the firearms licensing department and they will say, well, right, what if for the short term until I can get my security arrangements in order, I'll keep it at a gun shop. So that's done quite often. Urban Space Monkey, it has been a while. Thank you for joining. Hey, a live stream at a date and time I can make. It's been a while since you've been able to make one. Maybe I should change it to Fridays. I don't know. Wednesdays is normally my pub day, so it's not like I go out most Fridays anyway. It's why I don't do the live streams on Wednesdays. It's pub day. And I don't know if I've said, but the landlord of the pub that I go to is actually a fan and is also an old gamekeeper. So we regularly talk about guns. That's predominantly why it's my local, and it's also a bloody good little pub. They're a craft beer place. Highly recommend it. If you're ever in the Fareham area, West Street Ale House. If you ever want to come and have a drink with me, West Street Ale House on a Wednesday, probably after about 6:30, 7, most likely going to be there. You might just have to, be there with my dad as well, because it's usually like a father and son thing. But yeah, more the merrier. I'm sure Steve, the landlord, won't complain. The main issue can also be that a gun shop is only allowed to hold so many. My local shop is only allowed to hold 45. Yes, it can. Like Neil Ragg, who runs Rack and Load, he has an RFD and that has a restriction on it. Although he actually works in a gun shop now, so that might be different. But I think at one point he was only able to store 3 guns. So it really does depend on your security arrangements. I'm getting pinged. Someone's sending me photos. Oh yes, so this is going round. Thank you, Tom, if you're having to be watching right now. So this is it's like always sees an opportunity, right? So back onto the Guntrader thing. Come on, camera. I don't know if you can see that writing. It's like AT&T. Wait, there's loads of people panicking about their security. Quick, roll an ad. If you didn't read that, it's ADT UK and Ireland. Have you been affected by the Guntrader data breach? Get peace of mind with 24/7 monitored alarm from ADT. Maybe it was them. Maybe their sales were a little bit low. I mean, that does tie up, isn't it? With so many more people working from home, probably less alarm sales. Maybe they did that as a ploy. Oh, Tom, I've just seen your message. Yeah, thank you. What are you guys talking about? Why have you not spoken to them directly? Surely they know the most of what happened. Are you not just supposing some of this info? The thing is, Guntrader aren't commenting, right? You know, yes, I could have given them a phone call. I'm sorry, I do have a nice sheen. It is very hot and sticky. I have to close the window and the door for this stream. It's hot, right? But the storm's rolling in and I'm hoping it clears up. I've never wanted rain so much in my life. No, like not all. Yeah, yes, there is some speculation. There's some assumptions within it, but Guntrader aren't gonna tell you that, right? You know, the Shooting Chimes have tried to get in contact with Basque and all that. It was all like no comment. I mean, the Guntrader. What I heard on the 20th in some of these Facebook groups was that the Gun Trade Association were already in talks with them, and they wouldn't even tell the Gun Trade Association what was going on. Right, like up until the evening of the 21st, their line was, "We're not entirely sure what's happened." Right, it took all of 5 to 10 minutes to verify that this was real, and yet Guntrader, who run the bloody platform, have 24 hours. It takes them 24 hours to verify. They were trying to sweep things under the rug and try and keep it on the down low, but at what cost? Right, people's personal information is out there, their security has been compromised in some way, and they're just trying to save face whilst people could be in quite serious danger. Yeah, the Guntrader are not going, they're certainly not now, they're not going to give out any information, right? And I'll give you, case in point, and I'm actually a little bit narked about this. Whilst I do use Basque quite a lot in terms of news and information, and sometimes even like video ideas. They give so many good video ideas, not necessarily good for them, but certainly good for me. So this is Basque, right? The largest shooting organization, right? This looks like a really funny format, right? It almost, you see this, it's 3 photos with this little white border. It almost looks like they've just taken a screenshot of a Facebook post and used it as their picture. I wonder what Facebook post they have taken it from, right? With no credit, I might add, right? Like, if you're going to steal my photo or photos, like, at least credit me like everyone else did. Like, Shooting Times even phoned up and asked permission to use them, never mind just giving credit. So yes, this was the level of information that Guntrader was giving out, that Basque had to go and screenshot my post to be able to put some content out there, right? Guntrader would not giving out any information, and you can read their post on it, right? Nothing about talking to Guntrader. It's like the Guntrader, they were lips shut, and the same for the Shooting Times, right? They weren't giving out any information any more than they absolutely need to. I think the only thing that they did is that they confirmed to Field Sports Britain that my story was correct, right? The post that I initially put out on the 21st, the morning of the 21st, was correct. That was literally for like the whole day. That was the only information. So no, I wasn't going to waste my time contacting Guntrader when they weren't talking to Basque, they weren't talking to Field Sports Britain, they weren't talking to the Shooting Times, they weren't talking to the Guntrader Association. Why are they suddenly going to start talking to me? And again, as I explained in the video, that was my whole reason for putting out that post. They weren't talking to anybody, people were getting worried, they were getting concerned, and then one post, and it's, well, maybe didn't like calm everyone down, but at least gave some information for what the hell was going on and actually how bad it was. And I think that's probably one of the bad things is a lot of people didn't realize how bad it was. It was like, oh, it's just been a little hack. And I mean, as soon as you go on there and you say GPS coordinates, your postcode, name, number, email address, like they know where you live, it sort of brings it to light of how severe it is. A laughing joker. So he said, you spoke to Alexander and he was surprised to hear what you had been saying without talking to him. You should call him. He can call me. How about that? I never get that. Like, you should have phoned me. I've got a phone number as well. I've got an email. I've got a I've got a email. I've got messengers and all that. Like, I don't know. Was anything that I said wrong? Right? That's the more important question. Right? Was anything wrong? Right? They confirmed the post. like what am I missing here? That's bad. No confidence in any of these gun apps. When it comes to privacy, the individual needs to be discreet and responsible for their own info. Don't give those flap apps any trust. See, and again, this is a big... I'm really cautious about giving my address out online, obviously, right? But Guntrader, like, you need to give out your address. It is very rare, if... I'll use a business address or use an alternative address, but your home address, like, I believe, this might be wrong, but you don't even need to put in your address to open a Facebook account, right? All of the other sort of accounts that I hold online, you rarely have to put in your address, right? But Guntrader, you needed it. And that, the address of gun owners, you need to be a bit more careful, right? But the thing is, as I say in the video, and I know this seems like a massive Guntrader smear, I genuinely love their platform. I love their website. I love the company. They've made a mistake, and it's a big one at that. I'm sure they are going to pay in multiple ways for it, but I still use Guntrader, right? There's only like one or two other websites that you can use in the UK, and Guntrader always has a much bigger selection, is sort of easier and nicer to use. Although, being honest, I preferred their old format, their old website years and years ago. The new one I find a little bit more clunky, but it's still a lot easier to use than the others. And they've got the biggest variety. If I want to, like when I'm researching for a review, if I want to know what the going new price of a gun is, or the going second-hand gun, I wish, the second second-hand price of a gun is, I'll go to Guntrader. That's always my first point of call. If I want to look at the price of the guns, Guntrader. If I want to see what's available, Guntrader. And I will still continue to use them. Like, you can either get very angry about it. They've put my data out there. It's not, there's a risk there. Yes, I'm slightly more concerned about, my safety, my security. But likewise, the data's now already out there. Am I going to stop using the website? Well, no, the mistake has already been made. I'm still going to continue using the website. Am I going to put my new address in there when I move? Probably not, but I'm still going to use the website to look at the going price of guns, and when I have my certificates, to most likely buy guns as well. So there's nothing that says you have to put in a correct address or date of birth. That's a very good point. Maybe something that people should consider in future. But then, it's about, well, I suppose you could do, like, as long as you keep it to your town, maybe. But I think they require a postcode, so maybe you'd have to use a closer postcode, a postcode in your general area. But obviously, if you're trying to sell a gun and it says, like, you live in Portsmouth, and then suddenly you're giving them a Southampton address, people are going to be like, hang on a minute, this doesn't add up. But yeah, anyway, a laughing joker. If you are in contact with Alexander, if he does want to make contact, if he does want to chat to me, please do so. Please tell him he's more than welcome. It's EnglishShooting@gmail.com. I'm not going to give out my phone number, but I'd happily supply my phone number if he wants to have a chat. If there is anything that I've put out there that is incorrect, then please tell him to let me know. Please tell him to correct me. Please, I will happily update it. I will happily correct any potential mistakes in the reporting so far. But as far as I've seen it, they confirmed the Facebook post. As far as I'm aware, the information that was being put out there is correct. But yes, that's bad. No, oh no, you already read that one. You were 100% correct to bring this to light. At the end of the day, there's many different. This is sort of like, let's give like a behind the scenes of the thought process of like running this channel, right? There's many different things you've got to balance, and it's like not pissing people off, right? Which I know isn't a particular strong point of mine, but when you come across a story like this and you're like, right, I release this, I'm going to piss them off, right? They're probably, if there was ever going to be any sort of collaboration, if there was ever going to be any sort of, say, business relationship there, they're never going to do that, right? But I also like to be very transparent and honest, and I feel a lot of the time the larger news organizations within the shooting community, the larger channels, the larger organizations, they have their pockets lines which steers their interests, right? It steers their honesty. Not necessarily steers their honesty, but it certainly will steer what stories they do or don't cover, right? I'm not calling anyone out for being liars or dishonest, but there are certainly some channels that won't report on certain bad PR for certain bad companies, right? And I absolutely hate that. And whilst it can be a sad, lonely place to be sometimes, if I feel that the greater shooting public should know about something, regardless of what potential damage it's going to do to myself or the brand English Shooting, I will put it out there, because at the end of the day, we'll slight update on this, but this channel isn't funded by these large companies, organizations and all that, right? It's funded by you guys, right? It's funded by you guys watching. It's, just watching the videos, watching and clicking on ads, the donations, buying merch and things like that. The single greatest revenue stream of this channel is AdSense, and that's through people watching the videos. So why should I have any loyalty at all to these larger, more influential companies when they fuck up, right? It's you guys that I'm loyal to, and I don't want to ever feel like I am keeping something away from you because I have, obligations. And this is why up until date I've never had any like paid promotions. I've had quid pro quo agreements with companies. They may give me stuff and I will review that stuff and put it out, but anything I say is honest, and I still want to maintain that. Even if someone comes along and pays me £100,000 to promote their product, right, I'm still going to say to them, I'm not going to say anything I would have not otherwise said. Everything I say is will be genuine. And actually, on that note, it was going to be a topic, but sort of down the line. And I know a lot of people are going to roll your eyes, and Dan's going to be going, "Oh, like shill, oh, like shill." Yes. So you may have noticed there will be a video coming out most likely Monday evening. I do have a latest and greatest. I don't actually know if I'm allowed to say what it is or really even show you guys. But yeah, Olight and I came to an agreement, or the channel and Olight came to agreement for me to show you one of these new products and tell you about a pretty shit hot sale that's going to be happening as of Monday evening. If you go on their website now, it does already. I don't think I'm actually breaking anything because it's on their bloody website. So if they get their knickers in a twist over this, then anyway. So this is what they have sent me down. It is a little bit funny because this is predominantly for home defense and self-defense, but there are actually a number of sort of let's say sporting purposes for having a light like this. And I like gizmos, I like gadgets. So they've sent me one down. It is a paid for promotion. I will be completely transparent and completely honest about that, but still, I'm still going to say exactly what I think about it, exactly You know, I'm not going to change what I say based on the fact that it's a paid promotion. So anyway, it's the new Boulder S, which is the sort of more compact version of their Boulder, and having a little bit of a play with it so far. Like, I'm really impressed. I really don't get the hatred on Olight. Like, I generally don't, and this is part of the reason that I accepted a paid promote with them, because they sent me down. It was their Warrior X, and I was like genuinely blown away with it. Right, the amount of light that thing produces is absolutely insane. But anyway, just wanted to say that on the on Monday, no, go back. There we go. Their summer sale up to 50% off, 8 o'clock on Monday the 26th. So if you are interested in picking up any Olight stuff in the UK, olightstore.uk, you'll be able to get some amazing deals. And no, I was not contractually obliged to do that. I genuinely, like, I've got them. I can certainly show you this guy. The thing is, I can't actually touch that now because it's on a gun of some kind, and YouTube will lose their shit. But this is like a small sun, right? And I know what people say, you know, about Olight. There's various things online about them. Yeah, you know, at the end of the day, they're not a surefire, right? They're not a cloud defense, but I think they're bloody hard to beat for the money. And this thing is like a small sun, right? It will blind. Like, you get severe retina burn. You can use it with the I haven't actually tested it. I talked about it in the review, and I love that. And people always go, how gimmicky is that on Olight? I'm like, that's not gimmicky at all, right? I'm a Mac user, and the new Macs with USB-C hate the power cord. The old MagTech, MagSafe, whatever it is, beautiful, right? Absolutely easy, just click it right in. Don't have to worry about getting it right in there. And then you've got your weapon, when you say weapon, your quick activation. I really don't see why you would need to spend more on a light. Am I going to sit here and say that their stuff is the best on the market? You know, and I actually compare them quite a bit to Vortex, right? Apart from the Razer HDs, right? Apart from Vortex's top end line, their stuff is quite cheap, affordable. It's at the affordable price point, right? And in the lower end brackets, is it the best stuff on, you know, in those brackets? No, right? But it does exactly what you want at a bloody good price, you know. So, you know, are Vortex the best scopes in the world? No. But for 99.99% of people, they would do absolutely everything you need, and you're going to save a shitload of money. And you've got a lifetime warranty. You get a 5-year warranty with you get a 5-year warranty with the Olights. But yeah, anyway, there'll be a video about the new Boulder S coming out, I think Monday evening, and also information again to remind you about the sale. And moreover, they're supporting the channel, right? The money doesn't go into my pocket; it goes into the channel's pocket. It's used for new equipment, which actually, for any viewers from last week of the channel, I'm going to have to buy some new equipment. So I have moving swiftly on. This is why it doesn't seem like it may cost a lot of money to run a channel, but certainly when you're going and reviewing guns and buying ammo, and it's the gear that is a killer. You know, I've got like a £200 mic for the live stream, a £50 suspension arm for that mic, and my Focusrite, this was like £120, and it's a XLR interface, so it's my audio interface into my Mac. So basically XLR to USB-C with some knobs in between. Don't we like that? And basically the issue that I had last week where it froze, which could potentially happen at any moment or any point during this live stream, is down to my audio interface. So apparently it's not the Mac. All you Mac haters out there, the Mac is fine. It's the peripheral. It is the audio interface from Focusrite that apparently it's a known thing that it crashes. It causes a kernel panic with Macs and crashes them. And that is what I had experienced last week and the week before that. So I'm gonna have to buy a newer, either a different Focusrite. It's specifically this generation of this model. So I'm either just going to have to go out and buy the new one or buy a new interface, right? That's money, right? That costs money. And when I have companies like Olight, where I genuinely like their products, that this is another like unofficial rule I have. Like, I don't, for money or otherwise, sexual favors, whatever, I don't plug a product that I generally don't like. You know, no one can pay me to just, oh yeah, this thing's amazing, buy it. If I like something, I am open to an arrangement, whatever you may do. Mac lol, spare me. It is the choice of scientists, I will have you know. You go to CERN, all Macs. Happy Thursday. You're a day late, mate. I bet Callum plays games on his Mac. I'm far too busy to be playing games. I have my iPhone to play games on, thank you very much. I do actually have Steam downloaded for one game and one game only, Half-Life, and it runs flawlessly on it. Right, Half-Life is... I haven't properly played games in like 10-15 years, but Half-Life was like the first proper game that I got into as a kid. And I was quite young, probably far too young to be playing Half-Life. And every now and then I just need a nostalgia trip. And it's like once a year or so, I'll probably just take a day or take an evening and I will complete Half-Life, the original Half-Life. And when we have a VR headset unit in the new unit, we may even get Alexa. So is it, no, Alex, Half-Life Alex, isn't it? Something like that. That would be interesting. Press X to doubt. No. A small son. I bet Callum plays games. Oh no, you've already said that. What are your favourite shooting games? Oh, well, it depends what you define a shooting game. Golden. Okay, all right. No, I played Half-Life. I actually, what came out first? I'm sure I played Half-Life before I played GoldenEye. But yes, I did have GoldenEye Nintendo 64. Why I ever got rid of that console, I don't know, because they're getting more and more expensive. I'd like to pick one up as a bit of nostalgia, really. But yeah, I know what you're talking about with GoldenEye 64. Other shooting games, really, and I know this may cause arguments. Grand Theft Auto, right? Grand Theft Auto, I think, is I probably have more game time on Grand Theft Auto, and I mean accumulatively, starting from the original. I don't think I ever played GTA 2, but I played the original a lot, played GTA 3, and San Andreas, and I also had a PlayStation Portable that I played Vice City on the PSP. But San Andreas just blew my mind. The scale of the map, the variety of what you could do. You know, you could go racing, you could shoot, you could start your own drug empire, you know, if you're into that, or go fly a plane. And then when I saw, I've only ever played GTA 5 for probably about 20 minutes, but it like blew my mind, bearing in mind that I was like the original old school GTA 1, GTA 3, even San Andreas. The difference between GTA 5 and San Andreas is just like huge, and it blew my tiny little mind. But yeah, GTA, I am going to class it as a shooting game. Time Crisis 2, House of the Dead. I've probably had more enjoyment on those sorts of games as well than any other. But in terms of other shooter games, I've never really got into the Call of Duty, Modern Warfare. What other shooter games are there? But yeah, just like GTA, basically. Time Crisis, not Time Crisis, Time Splitters. Time Splitters was technically Time Splitters 2, I think it was. Technically a shooting game. Played quite a lot of that. You should do GTA 5 online. You can do online races. Yeah, the thing is, like I've told this story numerous times, right? But the whole reason this channel exists is because I didn't want to get another console. Right? I had an Xbox 360 that was given to me by my now, my future father-in-law. That sounds weird to say. It's probably the first time I've actually ever said that. Revelation. So, yeah, my father-in-law to be, gave me a busted Xbox 360 and said, look, it's got the red ring of death, but you're pretty handy with a soldering iron and electronics. If you can get it up and running, great, it's yours. I did. I spent all of 2 weeks playing it before it broke again. That's the quality of my repairs right there. And I had this decision of, like, I need something to sink my time into that isn't work, that isn't studying, exams, or work, right? And the way I look at it is, whilst it's beneficial sinking time into video games in terms of your own mental well-being and having that sort of cool down, having that sort of evening off or week off, just not thinking about anything other than games, that is beneficial. But I wanted to put it into something else, and I wanted something to show for it. I didn't want like a high score or, you know, areas unlocked on a game. I wanted something sort of tangible to show for my time that I put into it for my hobby. And that's when I started English shooting. I was like, there's something that maybe a few years down the line I can look at and go, look, it's helped people, it's had an impact in some way. And then like 7, 8 years later, here we are. But yes, if that Xbox hadn't broken, I probably would have never started the channel. Still probably have a firearm certificate. So yeah, in other news, big news. I told you there was some other big news. Poor Amber Hill. I'm sure you may have seen this, but we're going to talk about it anyway. Amber Hill will not be making the Tokyo Olympics, and this is a travesty in so many ways, right? Not only just for her on an individual level, right? She has obviously worked tirelessly hard. She's been picking up medals in world championships. She's been putting in the performance. She earned her place by merit, not just that she's a name or, you know, a previous competitor. She beat them all and was the better shooter, right? And she got her place. And then literally a matter of days before they were going to go out, she gets the ping from COVID, and can't make it. So, you know, the 5 years that she's been working up to this for nothing. So, you know, my heart really does go out to Amber. It's a shame as well, because on the bigger picture, she was a medal hopeful, right? So in terms of Team GB, in terms of country pride, the pride of Britain, she was most likely going to bring a medal home, right? And that's now off the card. But sort of more selfishly, and I think more importantly for us as a community, is the positive promotion that she gives to the sport, right? And like, sometimes it's a little bit cringy, especially if you see her at a shooting show. You get these like 40-year-old men like rushing up to her, and they're like, "Oh, Amber," you know. She is this like golden girl of the shooting industry, and you know, she has immaculate nails. She always has, you know, good hair, good makeup. You know, she's a proper like glitzy girl. You know, and to have that as a representative of our sport, it smashes so many misconceptions, right? How many people has she brought into the sport, right? How many younger people have she brought in? Because, you know, when she really first started to become a big name within the shooting community, she was still like fairly young. You know, she's like 16, 17, 18. And I think inspired a lot of younger children to go, bloody hell, if she can do it, I can do it. And also think of the girls, right? How many girls has she shown that this isn't just a male-dominated sport, that you can be female and compete in the sport, and how inclusive this sport is, and you can end up going to the Olympics. So to not have her flying the flag out there, flying the flag for the country, but also for shooting sports in general, picking up a medal, you know, that's really the only sort of publicity as a sport we get from like the mainstream media, is when our shooters, they win, you know, Olympic medals, right? I mean, what's his name is it's Peter Wilson, was plastered everywhere. It was like the one time that the BBC didn't care that he had a gun in his hand, right? It was like here's an Olympian, here's a Team GB, and he's won a gold medal. And it just gave so much promotion to the sport. And unfortunately, as a community, we are going to miss out on that. But I know that is going to pale into significant insignificance to how Amber is going to be feeling personally. So my heart really does go out. Yeah, a silver lining is that she is still quite young. She's most likely got plenty of Olympics in her future, and if she was determined this time to go for the gold, she is going to be raring for it at the next Olympics. So my commiserations to her. It is utterly heartbreaking to see, but that's what happened, unfortunately. What are you guys? You're still talking about games? Yeah, don't mind me. Just have a general truth junkie. This ping crap is bullshit. You get pinged if you live 500 yards from your neighbour, for God's sake. Yeah, I mean, you got to be careful. I'm not going to go out there and disagree with government guidelines. But anyway, it's not. We are now easing restrictions. Went out today, no mask, was beautiful. Had to go. Went to the Apple store, and it was just so nice. I was very surprised that probably only 10% of the people didn't wear masks, and you were still getting the shitty looks, right? People, he hasn't got a mask, and you're like, why would you? Like most, and it's always the old people that are definitely double jabbed, right? It's like, you could kill me. You've been jabbed. I'll cough on you and give you flu anyway. But no. Don't worry, we're listening to you. That's very ominous. Some more bad news. Sorry, this is pretty much a bad news live stream this evening. Numbers are down. This is off of an article of Bask. See Bask. See what I did there. I credited you. I credited you for what I'm about to show based on your article. Left on the shelf, COVID-19 hits shooting's grassroots. This isn't a huge surprise, but it has obviously now been confirmed. And what Bask has discovered is the statistics from the Home Office, which basically all the numbers are down. We've got a decrease in the total number of certificates, both firearms and shotguns, and we have a decrease in new applications as well. And I can't, they're not actually on that screen, but Bask quote it. Seen new applications for firearm certificates and shotgun certificate were down 37 and 42%. Now, again, the reason I say this isn't really much of a surprise is because of COVID, because for the majority of last year, the firearm licensing departments, for the majority of last year, the majority of firearms licensing departments were closed. You couldn't actually put in an application. So remember, I was going to be reapplying, I think it was in May, and I didn't end up putting my application in until October. So that's a good 5 months, So most of the year they were shut. They weren't taking new applications, and even if they were only in some cases processing ones that were required for vocational or professional reasons. So it does go to reason that if people couldn't submit their application, there would be less applications submitted. Like that sort of seems to be, whilst there would have been a backlog and a massive flood, how many people were put off getting into shooting sports or getting their certificates last year because they were shut, and they thought, I'll do it next year. So I think we have we are coming out of this COVID situation. We are going to have to give a big push in terms of promotion, a big push in terms of getting new people into the sport and encouraging them now to put in their applications and get their certificates. Nitsa, thank you very much appreciate that. I hope that this data breach will cause other platforms like Gunstar and Gundeal to look at their security. Absolutely. I mean, again, the general consensus is that the Guntrader security was out of date. It was certainly not up to sort of modern hacking attempts, and the other sites are all very similar in that they do feel a bit old, a bit sort of you know, basic in a way. You know, you look at how you use, you know, like Gumtree or eBay and all that. You know, they're a lot. They're not the best systems out there, but they're a lot easier to use in some ways. And a few people from sort of, I'd say, the inside in a way, have said that from what they know about these various systems, like the companies are very stuck in their ways. That's not something you can do being a technology company, being a sort of software company. But yes, I'm sure the whole of the industry are going to really reflect on this. The whole of the industry is going to look at their security arrangements. Pardon me. Oh, it's this heat. It's this heat. It's sending me to sleep. Excuse me. So even I'm bored of me talking. So yeah, they're going to have to, right? And there's going to be a lot of companies that make a fair amount of money. I bet you there's going to be a lot more alarms sold in the next coming weeks, a lot more CCTV sold, a lot more safe sold. And also, I think a lot of cybersecurity experts are going to be quite busy looking at various shooting websites to make sure that everything is safe. One of the other things that was commented on actually about the Guntrader thing is that all of the data was held in the cloud, it was held online, and it should have been held locally. Also, the other thing is that it should have all been encrypted, whereas only the passwords were encrypted, which can be broken, but it's still a line of defense. When denial is on the agenda, I doubt it. Yeah, again, that's what I think has got so many people upset. You know, they should just look. It's shit. We're really sorry. Our bad. We will do absolutely everything to try and fix this. But this is the situation. You all should go and do this. You all need to obviously keep an eye out for any suspicious activities over the next few months. Like they should have just put their hands up, right? And I say it all the time. The mark of a good company, the mark of a mark of good customer service is not when things go right. You know, I always judge a company's customer service on how they deal with something when it goes wrong, because that's when people are really tested. That's when you see the true colors of a company. And I know I'm like a Apple fanboy, or I am a Apple fanboy. That's why I like Apple, right? Do they make the best products in the world? No. Are they the best value products in the world? Absolutely not. Are they the best products for me? Yes, in terms of the way they work and how you interface with them. But the thing that will never change until, you know, if they change their policy, the thing that will mean I will never switch away from Apple is their replacement policy, right? I remember when the iPhone 4S came out, and I went and got one. There was a fault with the first one that I got, right? Like a day later, I went in. Despite having sold out, they specifically kept units back in these eventualities. Within 5 minutes, I was out of the shop, and I had downloaded, you know, I use you know, various cloud backups, and I'd got my phone back, right? Then it broke another time. Same issue. There was a lot of bugs to begin with. Yeah, again, are they the best products in the world? No. But I walked in within 5-10 minutes. I walked out again with a new phone. My old Mac, which is actually here, so I call it the MacBook Senior. It's actually what I use to manage the chat and all that, right? This Mac, the trackpad went, right? But the way that Apple build the laptops is that they put the trackpad and then they glue the battery onto it. And in an Apple store, they are not allowed to remove batteries because they're quite hazardous. Lithium ions are not things to be fucked with. So they replaced the entire Mac because I needed a trackpad replacement, right? There are very few companies out there that will do, and the Mac at that time was like 2 years old. But it's not just the fact that they replace it; it's the fact that you don't have to argue with them, right? You go in there and you go, "This is broken," and they go, "Yes, it is," and they go, you know, basically we can't do that repair here, so we're gonna have to give you a new. Like, you don't have to. They just do it, you know. Anyway, that in my mind, you know, my whole goal on customer service is to give Apple level of customer service. I'm not saying everyone gets good customer service from Apple, but in my experience, it's second to none. I'm pretty sure people don't switch away from Apple because Apple have them by the walnuts. I did actually switch away from Apple for once. I went and got I think it was a Galaxy S7 or S8. It's actually behind me in my junk pile. Everyone was going, how can you slag off Android and you've never tried it and you're just an Apple fanboy? And I was like, right, fuck you. Next phone, I'm getting an Android. And they're like, right, you'll never go back. You'll never go back. I couldn't wait to get rid of that phone. I had it for well over a year and hated every minute of it. Couldn't wait to get my Apple phone back. Anyway, this isn't a technology podcast. So a post that went out today, there could be a gearing up for a call for licensing air guns within the UK. And this is coming from Cats Protection. This is not the first time that Cats Protection has sort of gone after air guns, but they are now doing a specific campaign against it. So the full link is on the English Shooting Facebook page. And basically they're trying to gather information about where cats have been shot with air guns. Now, there's a few issues with this, right? First of all, when you're talking about emotive subjects like this, where they will have very passionate, loyal followers for the causes of animal protection and the banning of guns and licensing of air guns, first of all, how do you validate this information? Is this information going to be used to sway the opinion or the decision of our government? And if so, what is being put in place to make sure that it is valid? Because as far as I can see, anyone can just make this stuff up, right? It's like you could write anything there, concoct whatever story you want. So this is like an anti-gunner's dream, right? Because they can just go and get all of the anti-gunners to say, oh yeah, you know, we've all lost cats to guns, and then they put that in front of the government, and the government ends up licensing air guns. But furthermore, a lot of people saying that the X-ray looked dodgy and looked faked. I don't think it looks fake. I think that's a genuine X-ray, but that's not an air rifle pellet, right? That very much looks like shotgun pellets. So I'm not saying it makes it any better. By no means am I saying it makes it any better. But they're using a picture of a cat that has been shot with a shotgun to campaign about air guns. It's like, just for once, could they get it right? And I'm not saying there isn't an abundance of X-rays of cats with airgun pellets lodged in them, unfortunately. And I'm a big animal lover, right? I used to have kids. I used to have cats when I was a kid. I used to have kids when I was a cat. That's all kinds of fucked up. But yes, I used to, we had family cats. I am more of a dog person, but I do love cats. And yeah, I don't want to see that happening. Like, not at all. But don't post a picture of a cat that has been shot by a shotgun and parade it as being a cat that has been shot by an air gun. So yeah, some people feel that they're going to use this for a big call on licensing. Obviously, once it came into Scotland, once there was the Scottish airgun licensing, everyone's just waiting for it to come into the UK. I really do feel optimistic about this, right? Is it at some point going to come in? Probably. Is it going to be in the near future? I don't think so. Because you look at what they said with the crossbows, right? We had that incident with the crossbow. There was a massive petition. Oh, something bad happened with something. We must ban it. You know, is sort of the agenda of people with no brains. But there was this big petition, and the government commented on it and said, like, no, right? And I can't remember the specific reference, but basically it was like, look at Scotland, right? They licensed air guns. Didn't do much, you know. There's still, I ended up sort of getting I got a little bit frustrated with somebody, and I'm sorry if you're on the stream now and you're watching. It was just like, sometimes I have my moments, right? So somebody commented, I put out that post on English Shooting, I'm just finding it now. And I say a lot, that the airgun licensing in Scotland was a failure. And someone just called me out. And I always say call me out, right? I am not against being called out. If I'm wrong, if I'm incorrect, call me out. But don't be surprised if I come back with a load of stuff to back up my stance on things. So sometimes I can get a little bit feisty. So basically someone like called me out and said, like, look, you're always saying it's been a massive failure. I've never seen any data to suggest that. And yeah, he's right. I've never supplied data. I've supplied sound bites and snippets. But when you can go and do this, and this literally took me 30 seconds to do. So I'm finding the original comment. Oh, that's a gem. I bet you that's Johnny, because he has got a wicked sense of humour. I've just seen this. I can't believe I didn't see this before. Alternatively, we could just license cats. Yeah, love it. Absolutely love it. Where is it? So it's him. He keeps saying massive failure of the Scottish scheme, but I've never seen any irresputable objectively viewed data to back it up, right? And all I went is, regardless of the numbers handed in or license since it came in place. So my stance on it and what I always say about it is, you know, a fraction of what they supposed was out there was actually handed in or licensed. So the majority is still out there, right? But regardless of that, the scum that the licensing was aimed at are still in possession and are still doing scummy things. Simply, Scottish airgun license, the Scottish airgun license has failed to be effective in any way. And you go, well, what data or information do I have to support such a wild claim? Cat put down after being shot by an air rifle. That was in Scotland quite recently. Gun-toting vandals going on window smashing rampage. Racist Scots thug fired air gun at black man shouting dance. You can probably get the rest. Man jailed over air gun shooting at Aberdeen Harbour. You go on to Google and type in Scotland air gun, and you will be inundated with all the various offences and all the various scum that have been caught doing stuff with air guns that they shouldn't be in possession of since they were licensed a number of years ago. That's why it has failed. It is not stopping the crime. The objective of licensing wasn't to have all the guns licensed. It was to stop people who shouldn't, or who the Scottish government don't want possessing air guns, to possess them. And that's what it has completely failed to do. Cats are still being shot at, people are still being shot at, people are still being threatened, and the scum and the thugs still have these guns because they don't give a shit about the rules and the laws or licensing. And that's why I think it's quite optimistic that we won't have licensing for air guns in the UK. They will look at how much it cost, how much effort was expended in Scotland, and how little of an effect it had in reducing crime, and they'll go, probably will want to go and spend this money elsewhere. But they did go and spend, what is it, like, well, at least like £4 million on the offensive weapons bill, confiscating Mars and Lever releases that had never been used in crime. So who knows whether they want to follow logic, rhyme or reasons. It's license, not license. Is it? I don't know. I'm dyslexic. There's my card. There's my get out of jail free card. Don't let your cat out at night. Simples. It's not so simple because it does happen during the day. Yeah, better ban rocks then as well, right? Ever heard of a catapult? Like, animals get catapulted. It's not, again, it's not the gun, is it? Right? We say this all the time. It's not the gun. It's not, you know, whether they had a 2.2 rimfire single shot bolt action rifle, a sub 12 pound air rifle, a Nerf gun, a catapult, or a crossbow. The sort of people that is going to take aim at a cat and pull the trigger are going to do it with whatever they have in their hands. So, but yeah, you know, of course, it's not the person at all, is it? That's why we license, you know, that's why we heavily vet the person and not the gun. Callum talking about being an Apple fanboy, and here is me with a MacBook Pro on my knee, my Apple Watch on my wrist, my iPad Pro sitting next to me along with my iPhone 11 Pro. I just got out-appled. Although I do have 2 MacBooks in front of me. That's right, I'm a 2 MacBook kind of guy. And an iPhone X. Because I genuinely don't see the need in upgrading. It's the first phone I've ever got where it's like, every new one comes out and I go, just put another camera on it. I've got a camera, right? You're looking at me right now through it. Why do I need 3 in my phone? The cameras were good on smartphones, like they were good enough like 5 years ago, and now, and you know, anyway, I'm completely out of that game. There was my iPhone 4S. I actually queued up for. I went and did the full Apple fanboy experience, camped outside of the Covent Garden store, and was one of the first in the country to have one of the phones. Right, I'm glad I did it. It was an interesting experience. I can say I did it. Would I do it again? Absolutely not. It was painful. Just no. Just don't do it. Just like experience it, but then you understand. Just don't do it. But there's better things to be doing. Did you see the 9mm auto in the US found, all painted up to look like a Nerf gun? Even had the Nerf logo on it, and it looked like a Nerf gun. Yes, I did, because we were talking about... What were we talking about last week? Or was it the week before? God, we were talking about a particular gun. There was a news story about like a disguised gun. Oh, that was it. It was the Block 19. We were talking about the company that had put Lego on a gun and got a cease and desist from Lego, and we talked about that then. But for anyone that's not familiar or can't remember, this be it. I mean, it does, like, yes, it was seized in a drug raid, and I'm sure was owned by a fairly serious criminal. But that is kind of cool. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, that's a pretty good effort. Like, and I guess that's what makes it so scary, right? Because it looks like a Nerf gun. And the whole, like, is an officer going to hesitate because they see Nerf down the side of it and they end up getting shot? Like, I'm sure that's exactly why it was what it's intended to do. But they have gone the full hog there. Like, they may be, you know, a criminal, but like there's some effort there, right? Well, I can at least acknowledge that. Callum, I will email you a video to prove it. I have 3 MacBooks, a Mac Mini, iPhone 11 Pro Max, and an Apple TV, along with AirPod Pros. Just like, it's not a competition, all right? You've already won. One day, though, I've got my Apple goals. Well, I'm actually thinking of picking up some AirPod Pros. My old AirPods are just very old and scabby now, and the battery's going in them. But yeah, that would probably be my... Actually, tell a lie, my recent Apple purchase was a charger, because it's a ball ache unplugging it every day to take it in. This Mac is pretty powerful in more ways than one, and I haven't found an aftermarket charger yet that can deliver the power needed to actually charge the thing when I'm in full editing mode. And it always... There's actually a live stream like well over a year ago where it cut out halfway through, and that's because I had it plugged into a charger. The charger wasn't powerful enough to sustain the current power usage and charge the battery, so it was slowly decreasing. And then, because it was still plugged in and technically charging, it didn't give me any battery warning. So just donk, which was very helpful, really, halfway through a stream. So yeah, I just went and got a new charger. So now I have one in the office, I have one at home, and I don't need to transport either of them about. And wherever I'm at, I've got full power. The gun shop that made it said that they have discontinued making it, but I'm pretty sure they plan on making one just to make up a stir on the internet for advertising, similar to the NES gun. I talked about this. This was the sort of story last week. I don't think it had anything to do with it being a gun. I think it had everything to do with the fact that they were using like genuine Lego and also the Lego font. I'm sure if they just changed, you know, they had some like custom non-Lego Lego made, they'd be able to get away with it. I don't know. Although I think you'd like my Glock Gen 5 MOS 9mm with a Hollow Sun 507C red dot mounted on it better. Yeah. Are we allowed in Northern Ireland now? It's been it's been too long. We were actually due to come out in May for the level 3 handgun match that was going to be held there before COVID, but then COVID. As soon as that's being rerun, we'll be out there. As soon as we can travel, or it's safe to travel, or whatever whatever, we'll be out there for that. And then I'll get to play with your Glock. So Mac is powerful for Photoshop. It's powerful for editing as well. I don't get why people hate Mac so much. It's just jealousy, all right? It's just jealousy. That's what I like to think, anyway. Some big news in the Second Amendment world. I don't actually have a news article for this. I can quickly get one because I remember someone sent one to me. The Czech Republic, right? The Czech Republic is known as actually being a very pro-gun country. Their president came out and said ages ago that the way that citizens should deal with terrorists is by shooting them in the face. Like, you don't really get much more pro-gun than that, right? And this has now happened. The right to bear arms in self-defense is embedded in the Czech constitution. The Senate, the upper house of the Czech parliament, has approved the right to use arms to defend oneself and others. So they now have the right. So gun ownership is pretty prevalent in the Czech Republic, as it is, but they've just sort of cemented it just a little bit further. Based on the amendment, the Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedoms will include a new article saying that the right to defend one's own life or the life of another person, even with the use of a weapon, is guaranteed under the conditions set by law. I mean, that's like a beautiful caveat, right? Oh yeah. That's basic. Wait a minute. I've read this before. This is the Bill of Rights. It's the whole thing about the Bill of Rights all over again, right? Yeah, you've got the right to bear arms, and yeah, you can use it to defend yourself, but under the conditions set out by law. So if we pass a law that says you can't, but anyway, I don't think that's actually what they're doing, because they're not in the UK. They've actually got some brains. They've got a Second Amendment, right? They can now go and buy and own a gun for the purposes of self-defense, and they are legally allowed to use that gun for self-defense. Which, again, this is why it's more frustrating here in the UK. Like, the fact is, you can, but you can't own anything for that purpose. What this is saying is, no, you can. You should be able to own a gun for the purpose of self-defense. And the president thinks that you should go shooting terrorists in the face. So, I mean, he sounds like a pretty cool guy, if I'm going to be honest. But yeah, so big news on pro-gun rights. Mac is an overpriced PC. Oh, here we go then. Here we go, right? I've had this discussion many times, right? I'm allergic to Windows machine. I don't know what it is. I just break them. They disintegrate around me. The longest period that I have had a Windows machine without it shitting the bed is 18 months. Right? They slow down. You've definitely got to get antivirus. You've got to clean them up and manage them and install them occasionally. And I was going through pretty much a laptop every 12 months until I switched to Mac. The longest machine I have ever owned was my first Mac, and I had it for 5 years. So the purchase price of that Mac, my first Mac, was like £1,300. Right, spread over 5 years works out to be what, like 220 240 quid, let's say 250 quid a year, right? That's effectively what my Mac cost me over that 5-year period. Not forgetting because I haven't told you, in addition, I sold that Mac for £400. So the net cost over 5 years was £900. So that's £180 a year that Mac cost me. I was buying like £500 Dells, and I know that's probably what the issue was. I know like Dell is not like the flagship of Windows. I was buying £500 Dells. No, I even had like an £800 HP. Both or all of them broke within a year. So I went from spending effectively £500 to £800 on a laptop every single year because they kept breaking, to paying £180 relatively, right? And they're still worth something, right? My backup Mac, my MacBook Pro Senior, that thing is now a good like 7 or 8 years old. I could still sell it for £300 or £400, and it cost 1,500 quid, right? I actually think, for me personally, because I break Windows machines, you get better value out of Mac. But I know there's going to be people that viciously disagree with me. But I don't think they're overpriced. I think if you compare exact specs and go, you know, this processor speed, this RAM, then yes, the Mac is always going to cost you more for the same performance. But for me, the Mac is a better all-round product, will last longer, and also retains more of its value over time. But anyway, we're not a tech show, we're a gun show. Well, we're back onto technology. Point Blank Simulator. I've had a MacBook Pro since 2014. It still works perfect and renders 4K video fine. You will never end the PC versus Mac debate. No, I won't. But I will throw myself full headfirst into it. Now you have a country armed with CZ pistols ready to kill terrorists. Like, I bet, like, the thing is, CZ has actually quite low crime, low murder, low terrorism. I wonder why that is. Those 2014 MacBook Pros are great PCs. Someone's baiting. Someone's definitely baiting. So we do have a video. I'm actually pretty hot on videos in the next couple of weeks. The previous few weeks have just been absolutely hectic, and I haven't been able to really keep to a sort of common schedule. But I'm going to be having this Olight video coming out on Monday. So if you want a new look at the Olight Boulder S, check that video out. And I'm just waiting for approval. The video is done and is ready to release, and I'm hoping to be able to get it out tomorrow if I have approval. By then, I have a full match video for the Basildon level 3 mini rifle that Connors and I were at, and a load of people that watch and interact with the channel. So that's coming out very, very soon. Just need approval from the UK PSA that it's all good to go, and that hopefully, fingers crossed, should be out tomorrow. But yeah, I am going to wrap it up there because I'm actually starting to drown, and I need to go outside and get some fresh air. But we will be back to Thursday next week, 7:30. Thanks everyone for joining in. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's felt like a really lethargic stream, but that's because of the heat. When we're in the new unit, we're gonna have a full setup studio, and I'm having aircon. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it all. Hope there hasn't been too much Mac versus PC discussion. And yeah, in terms of the Guntrader news, anything that breaks, if Alexander gets in contact with me and wants to talk about it more, then I will keep you guys all updated. But yeah, make sure you like the stream. Make sure you subscribe if you're not already, and make sure you join us at 7:30 next Thursday for the next English Shooting live stream. And as always, guys, hope to see you soon.